Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisquil Gaming, and today we're delving deep into the Goblin Lair in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Whether you're looking to get more bang for your buck with your stamina and the way you use your experience potions, or you're looking to progress further into the Goblin Lair, this video has the tips and tricks you need to get more progress, get more experience. I mean, the tagline for the channel is to get value and smash your enemies. This video is going to send you on that track. Now, today's video is sponsored by the makers of Dragonheir Silent Gods, and if you haven't yet started playing the game and you're not familiar with it, this is a season-based, open-world role-playing game with tabletop D&D style mechanics such as dice rolling. Now, we're currently in Season 2 of Dragonheir Silent Gods, and I'm really enjoying it. And if you want to start playing, use that link in the description to download, whether you're on PC or Mac, and you want to download through the Epic Games Store or the Steam Store, or you want to download on iOS or Android. This is a very cross-platform game. You can play it wherever you go on so many different devices. In fact, I've even got 2 codes that you can use for some extra goodies. I'll show those on the screen and in the description of the video. So click that link in the description and you too can join the Dungeons & Dragons legends that are now joining the Dragonheir worlds. That's right, there is the second collaboration with Dungeons & Dragons to bring another iconic legendary character into the game. I covered that in my previous video. That's Elminster Aumar to Dragonheir Silent Gods. That's a hero you'll be able to collect and use. Now, that event is going to launch on February 23rd, so you still have a lot of time to get ramped up and be ready for this event. So check out my other video, card will be in the end screen, and there I'm just really enjoying these D&D collaborations. I think you may as well. But let's jump into this Goblin Lair and talk about how important it is to do the highest level and how we can get you there. In Dragonheir, you need to level up your heroes every single season to keep up with the progression in your server and to stay competitive. Now, this is going to require you to do higher level dungeons, story missions, City of Trials battles, and in these fights, there are levels of enemies that are going to get harder and harder. For example, doing any of the gear dungeons at level 9 to farm legendary gear pieces, you will have to fight bosses that are level 170. It's not going to work so well. So in order to combat this, you have to keep leveling up to match the content and to match what you're up against. Now, there's a cap for hero levels towards the start of the season. You can see when each new cap unlocks by clicking the plus in the top right, then your journey level in the top left. You can unlock 4-star heroes at journey level 21, then 5-star heroes at journey level 28. And at the start, you want to make sure you have at least 1 to 2 teams at these caps when they unlock. That way you're able to progress other dungeons that open up around the same time at the highest level that you possibly can. Now, here's some numbers to keep in mind. It's roughly 388,000 experience to go from level 0 to level 70, which is about 26 of the big blue experience bottles, and it's 3,759,000 to go from level 0 to 100. So that is 250 of the large experience bottles to fully max a hero. So you can see here, like, going to 70 is pretty straightforward, but the tail end of that journey to 100 is where the cost just goes up and up and up on your experience cost. So here's a tip. I'd highly recommend that you don't go all the way to 100. Instead, take your heroes to 97. It's 1.25 million experience less than full sending all the way to 100, which is pretty much a whole third of the cost reduction. Like, you save 1/3 of the experience you'll need, which is pretty insane. And it's only 3 levels that you'll be missing. So getting to 97 is probably a pretty good goal. And then the final 3 levels, you can address those later, right? But anyways, you don't need to lose out on a ton of stats. If you're missing those final 3 levels, you'll still be able to use experience to invest in other heroes for your lineup so that you can progress through different challenges that require different teams and setups. By the end of the season, you're going to need at least 6 full teams in order to compete in the Recast and Ardeth events, as well as the Chaos Shadows and the Copper Dragon endgame. Having more teams able to do good damage will reap you better and better rewards, as well as helping you climb your seasonal rankings in order to get some tickets for 2 guaranteed legendaries in your next season. So with 6 full teams of 5 heroes each, you are going to need a lot of experience. There are a total of 3 different Goblin Lairs. That's 1, 2, and 3, with the first 2 having only 5 stages each, and the third having 3. Now, in order to unlock the next stage of the Goblin Lair, you need to complete the previous one with at least 50 seconds remaining. It is always more beneficial to be completing a higher level or stage of the Goblin Lair, even if you can't do that 50 seconds remaining on it, as they give more experience potions at the lowest tier of rewards for like that next level compared to doing the previous stage's best possible reward. So you always want to be pushing difficulty here. So now that we know we need a lot of experience and we know we need to push a lot of difficulty and go as far as we can in the Goblin Lair, what is the easiest way to farm high-level goblins, and how can you improve your team to get there? We're going to be playing around with the absolute best rare hero in the game for this job, and that is Sigrid. Sigrid works wonders in the Goblin Lair because of her passive, gaining ultimate energy back whenever an enemy with a debuff dies. With 5 enemies per wave, at 25% ultimate energy back per death, she's gonna have her ultimate pretty much every single wave. Now, ideally, you equip her with an Executioner set in Season 1 or the Inventor set in Season 2. This is because in Season 1, you need to take advantage of ignoring defense with a 3-piece set bonus. And the higher the Goblin Lair stage, the higher the level of the enemies. Therefore, they're going to have higher and higher defense. So that's super valuable to be ignoring it. Now, in Season 2, you can take the advantage of the Inventor set 3-piece bonus, which stacks 8% damage every time the hero casts a battle skill or an ultimate skill. And since Sigrid is just going to be a machine gun for these ults, she's going to stack them up super quickly. Now, with Sigrid, you only need 1 tank, and usually you never need a support. If you are if you're dying, then it's because you don't have enough damage. So what you should look to do is get more damage, not more sustain. So I'd highly recommend early on that you use Horus. That's because you can get him for free, and he can taunt enemies to cluster together for AoE ults to do the work for you. Aside from just 1 tank, you're mostly going to want to try and enable Sigrid as much as possible. Now, we've talked about this in a couple videos, but Sigrid really wants debuffers as much as possible so that her ultimate hits as many targets as possible. Dane would be a great pick because of his diamond-shaped AoE, as well as giving himself ultimate energy back when he hits targets that are under 50% health. This works really, really nicely with Sigrid. Another example of a good debuffer would be Irina. Paired with Horus's taunt, she's going to land an attack penalty in a 3v3 area or a 3x3 area that can enable Sigrid. Now, you can even use Iola, who is an epic counterpart to Irina, who does some pretty good damage. Really, most AoE debuffers are going to work. Voresh is a great example of a board-wide AoE debuff, and you've probably seen that infamous Voresh-Sigrid pair in Arena many times. Remember, debuffers aren't just supports. They can also deal a lot of damage, and you usually only need 1 or 2 3-piece 3-ear sets to have uptime on your attack buff, meaning everyone else on your team should be in damage sets, like the Executioner set or the Platinum Knight set in Season 1, or Gamblers and Inventors sets in Season 2. A quick trick on how to know who wants the Gambler set is that most heroes that do a multi-hit on their ultimate, like Tonalnan or Uruk, will want Gambler's set. This is because each hit of their ultimate has its own chance to deal the 3-piece bonus. And that means you're getting extra true damage on your target. But this is not going to work on your derivative damage dealers, so do keep that in mind. Now, your main character, also known as the Traveler, also does really good damage when he's in the fire, or she is in the fire element. Their ultimate and battle skill do a surprising amount of damage as well, and the ultimate can be paired with Horus to guarantee a hit on all 5 enemies per goblin wave. Now, lastly, with positioning, this is important But there's nothing too fancy I'm going to offer you for the Goblin Lairs. You want to have your tank be in front solo. This has the highest chance of all enemies per wave focusing your tank alone and grouping up nicely. If you have multiple front lines, you will not guarantee that you're going to hit your AoE abilities with your 3x3 ults. Therefore, it's better to run 4 ranged units. Have all your ranged units line up in the back. Make sure that your units like Eli or Filto, who can only target the 3 tiles in front of them, are in the very middle. That way you can maximize your chance to land with your ults, or even heroes like Hivitar that hit really hard with their battle skills, but they can only hit certain tiles in front of them. These tips and tricks will help you tremendously as you think about how much experience to put into your heroes, and also how you can progress further very simply in the Goblin Lair. Of course, I'm interested for any other tips and tricks you have. Leave those down below in the comments. And also, if you want to download the game, if you haven't already, or you want to download the game onto another device, check that sponsored link in the description. Clicking that link does support the channel, and I deeply appreciate your support. Download today and join some of the iconic Dungeons & Dragons legends in Dragonheir Silent Gods. You can play on PC, Windows, Mac through the Epic Games Store and Steam, as well as on mobile with either Android or iOS. And remember, your progress is saved across all your devices, so you can be on your PC and then out and about on your iPhone or whichever of those devices you prefer. Thank you again, Dragonheir Silent Gods, for sponsoring today's video. And if you're looking for some more information on how to get a quick start in Dragonheir Silent Gods, I'll have 2 cards in the end screen that you might want to check out.